Hey, grade 10, welcome back. Why explore space? Okay, today for Unit 3, we're going to look at listening to. Okay, so I'd like you to open your textbook at page 59. Awesome, let's go there. Here we are, listening to the view from space. We're going to look at the vocabulary first, read the facts about space, and notice the bold-faced words. Okay, here we've got innovations, crews, perspective, promotes, and precious. Okay, this is the context, okay? So the first one is the first telescope was invented in 1608. Since then, many more innovations from water filters to smoke detectors have been inspired by space research. Number 2, flight crews on the International Space Station ISS have included people from 15 different countries. 3, in 2002, scientists found signs of ice on Mars. This information has changed our perspective on the history of the planet. 4, the United Nations Office of Outer Space Affairs promotes the peaceful uses of outer space. And 5, most spacewalks on the International Space Station last between 5 to 7 hours. Time is precious during a spacewalk, so the work must be finished quickly. Okay, great. So those are the words that we're going to look at throughout this section. I would like you to take time to put the correct word with a matching definition, and you're gonna look at A, B, C, D, and E. You can pause your video to do that now. Great, that brings us to the comprehension. We're gonna listen to an interview with Ray Santos. That's a scientist who works with the space exploration industry. I want you to label the 3 main points with the ideas from the box. There's one extra choice, so remember, there's one that's going to be left over. Then under each main point, I want you to cross out the supporting detail that is not mentioned. So we're basically in this activity going to listen for main point and also for detail. Okay, great. So we've got curiosity, innovation, international cooperation, scientific knowledge. Okay, the first one is done for you. So remember, annotate first, underline and circle the keywords, and then while you're listening, you can straight away answer. Take some time to annotate. Okay, let's start.
One criticism of the space program is the cost. The U.S. government is spending over $18 billion on space exploration. Is it worth the price?
Space exploration has a lot of benefits. One is innovation. The research for the space program has led to all kinds of innovations.
Can you tell us about some of those?
Think about it. To get into space, we had to solve all kinds of problems. Problems we never had on Earth that required new ideas and solutions. And these innovations didn't just stay in space. Hundreds of new products have been created from this research. Things we use on Earth every day. Let me give you some examples. Water filters, used to clean water, and smoke detectors to protect your house from fire. They were both developed for use in space.
You've talked about other benefits, ones that can't be measured in dollars and cents. Could you describe some of those?
Well, space exploration now requires a great deal of international cooperation. For example, the International Space Station. 5 different space agencies work together to build and run the station. It's brought together international flight crews from 15 nations. The training and research, the supplies and communication networks, they're all international efforts. This cooperation promotes positive relationships between nations.
There are other, more personal benefits as well.
Right. Since the beginning of time, we've had a great curiosity about the world around us. We've always wanted to learn more, to see more. This curiosity has led us to explore every corner of the Earth. But we've only just begun in space. There is so much more that we need to find out. And it doesn't just give us answers, it gives perspective. Seeing Earth from space, a small blue planet floating in a giant black sky, we see how precious it is. And that's a perspective we should never forget.
Okay, great. Please recheck your answers to number 1, 2, and 3. Write down the main point and also cross out the detail that is not correct. So as you can see here, this is the main point, these are the details. Which detail was not mentioned? Please check your answers. Great, that brings us to the listening skill of today. Our listening skill is listening to pronoun references. Yeah, a pronoun reference is a pronoun that refers to a subject. It refers to something mentioned before it. You're going to listen to an excerpt from the interview with Ray Santos. Now, what does the word it refer to? And is it worth the price? Now, that's the question. Let's listen together. Try to listen for this.
One criticism of the space program is the cost. The U.S. government is spending over $18 billion on space exploration. Is it worth the price?
Exactly. Is it worth the price? Now, what is the it? Okay, write that down. That brings us to the pronoun reference. Speakers use pronouns like it, they, this, that, he, she to refer to people, things, and ideas. It is important to understand which people or things or ideas a speaker is referring to. Now, a pronoun may refer to something mentioned before or to an idea that is not directly stated. I want you to listen to the excerpt and I want you to notice the pronouns in bold. Which ones have we got? Those, it, and we. Let's listen.
Space exploration has a lot of benefits. One is innovation. The research for the space program has led to all kinds of innovations.
Can you tell us about some of those?
Think about it. To get into space, we had to solve all kinds of problems.
Okay, so we've got those. Can you tell us about some of those? Those refers to what? Think about it. What is it? To get into space, we? Who's the we? Yeah, so those refers to the innovations. It refers to space exploration. And we refers to the scientists or the people in general. So we use these pronouns in order to refer to a subject, a noun, or believe, yeah, that has been stated before. Stated once, and then we just use a pronoun. Not to be repetitive and repeating the same word over and over again, right? Awesome. Okay, so you are going to listen to excerpts and then you're going to write the meaning of the bold-faced words down. So we have excerpts 1 and 2. And you're going to listen and figure out what the pronoun refers to. So in excerpt 1 we've got it has brought together international flight crews, so we're focusing on it. B would be this cooperation promotes positive relationships. This cooperation, which one, refers to what? That refers to the cooperation between what? And excerpt 2 we're looking at we, this curiosity, it, and it. Okay, listen and answer or take notes. Let's go.
For example, the International Space Station. 5 different space agencies work together to build and run the station. It's brought together international flight crews from 15 nations. The training and research, the supplies and communication networks, they're all international efforts. This cooperation promotes positive relationships between nations.
Okay, awesome. Answer excerpt 1. Great, that brings us to excerpt 2.
Right. Since the beginning of time, we've had a great curiosity about the world around us. We've always wanted to learn more, to see more. This curiosity has led us to explore every corner of the Earth. But we've only just begun in space. There is so much more that we need to find out. And it doesn't just give us answers, it gives perspective. Seeing Earth from space, a small blue planet floating in a giant black sky, we see how precious it is.
Okay, take some time to answer. Great, that brings us to the last part basically already of this session, which is connecting the listenings. Now, this is, remember when I talked to you about analyzing, evaluating, and creating as the higher order thinking skills, is when you're connecting the ideas, you're basically analyzing all the information that you got, and then you're kind of evaluating its result by coming to a justification or a conclusion. Yeah, so basically the strategy we use for this is synthesizing, where we're connecting the dots, we're organizing the information, and then it leads us to create something. Okay, so in this case, for organizing, we're going to listen to the listenings 1 and 2 again, and then complete the chart with the details about the effects of space exploration. It's super important that you're going to annotate this information before you're going to listen, because you need to have the focus what to listen for. Otherwise, you don't even know how to answer or how to take notes. So at this table, we can see the effects of space exploration. We want to know what the effects are. Now, listening 1 talked about the space junk problem, whereas listening to the view from space. Now, we have these points as effect on individual people, the effects on countries, and the effects in space. And then the details that, further details that are written here. Now, so you're going to listen and you're going to complete this chart with the details that you're hearing. So you have to take notes. You can either take notes on a blank piece of paper and then fill this out, or you fill this out at the same time as you're listening, basically. You can do both. Okay, cool. Let's start then. Take a little bit of time to annotate. Go ahead. Let's listen.
When NASA announced in 2011 that an old weather satellite, a 6-ton piece of space junk the size of a bus, was falling back to Earth, people worried. Scientists knew when it would fall, but not where. As it turned out, it came down harmlessly in the Pacific Ocean. But this made us wonder, how much space junk is up there? And are we in danger?
Well, we call it orbital debris, not space junk.
That's Michaela Johnson, a scientist who studies debris in space.
Most of it's created when satellites collide or explode. 2 recent events created 1/3 of the debris now in space. In 2007, an old Chinese satellite exploded. And in 2009, an old Russian satellite hit an active American satellite.
NASA tracks 21,000 large fragments more than 10 centimeters in width, or the size of a large apple. But there are 500,000 smaller fragments, the size of a grape, that we can't track. And the number of tiny particles less than 1 centimeter could be in the hundreds of millions. All these fragments orbit the Earth in a giant debris cloud. We're looking at a map of the debris on a computer screen.
So this is the Earth, and you see here, each dot is a piece of debris larger than 10 centimeters.
So far, no one has been injured or killed by space debris falling to Earth.
Most of it burns up long before it reaches the ground, but on average, 1 piece of space debris falls to Earth each day, usually in the ocean or a place where no people live.
A bigger problem is the fragments in Earth's orbit. These fragments are dangerous because they travel incredibly fast, about 8 kilometers per second.
That's 8 times faster than a speeding bullet.
At that speed, even small fragments can do serious damage to a spacecraft. And with each collision, more debris is created, increasing the chances of another collision. The problem will only get worse unless we can stop the creation of more space debris. And with over 1,000 working satellites in orbit, we may all feel the effects.
Our communication satellites, our weather satellites, our navigation satellites are all in danger.
That means our phone calls, TV signals, weather reports, and GPS map systems.
And it's not just a U.S. problem, it's an international problem. Every country that sends a spacecraft or satellite into space, we're all part of the problem. So the international community needs to cooperate. We have to stop creating new debris and to clean up the debris that's already there.
There is some progress. Space agencies from 12 countries have formed an organization, the Interagency Space Debris Coordination Committee, to find a solution. But until then, we'll keep an eye on the sky, just in case.
One criticism of the space program is the cost. The U.S. government is spending over $18 billion on space exploration. Is it worth the price?
Space exploration has a lot of benefits. One is innovation. The research for the space program has led to all kinds of innovations.
Can you tell us about some of those?
Think about it. To get into space, we had to solve all kinds of problems. Problems we never had on Earth that required new ideas and solutions. And these innovations didn't just stay in space. Hundreds of new products have been created from this research. Things we use on Earth every day. Let me give you some examples. Water filters, used to clean water, and smoke detectors to protect your house from fire. They were both developed for use in space.
You've talked about other benefits, ones that can't be measured in dollars and cents. Could you describe some of those?
Well, space exploration now requires a great deal of international cooperation. For example, the International Space Station. 5 different space agencies work together to build and run the station. It's brought together international flight crews from 15 nations. The training and research, the supplies and communication networks, they're all international efforts. This cooperation promotes positive relationships between nations.
There are other, more personal benefits as well.
Right. Since the beginning of time, we've had a great curiosity about the world around us. We've always wanted to learn more, to see more. This curiosity has led us to explore every corner of the Earth. But we've only just begun in space. There is so much more that we need to find out. And it doesn't just give us answers, it gives perspective. Seeing Earth from space, a small blue planet floating in a giant black sky, we see how precious it is. And that's a perspective we should never forget.
Okay, great. So what you're going to do right now is answer the blanks, or if you've done that already, please recheck it. Go ahead, pause your video. Great, that brings us to the last part of today's lesson, which is the step 2 for synthesizing. As we organized and connected the dots, we're now kind of coming to this part of the evaluation where we come to this conclusion, this justification, and where we are creating something new. So this is the part of synthesizing, of connecting the dots and creating, right? What we're gonna do is I want you basically to answer these questions. So in our next Zoom meeting, we can discuss these questions about space exploration. I want you to use the details and the examples from step 1, organizing the chart that you filled out, to answer these questions. Number 1, what are the positive effects of space exploration? And number 2, what are the negative effects of it? Yeah, and then during our Zoom meeting, we will discuss this together. That was it for today. You did a great job. I'm gonna review real quick with you what it was we really went over today. So basically, let's see. Yeah, we started with the vocabulary, and oh, I'm going to the wrong page. We started with the vocabulary, and then we went over it. We reviewed that one, the words, with regards to the definition. Yeah, you had to combine those, and from there on, you looked from there on, we went to the comprehension. Yeah, so you listened to the audio in order to hear the main points and also the details. So you had to write down the main point, but you had to cross out the detail that was not mentioned. So you had to recognize the not mentioned detail. Then we went over the listening skill, which was pronoun reference. So hearing the pronouns and knowing what they refer to. Yeah, to what subject, either a person or object, thing or idea it referred to. And last, we connected the dots of both listenings, of listening 1 and listening 2, connecting and correlating the ideas in order to come to a justification or conclusion, to synthesize and being able to answer questions. Well done. So I will see you again in the next video. Stay excited. God bless you. You did great. Bye-bye.